We do genetic testing at the office. We tend to try and have it done at our local lab at the hospital, but there are 2 of us that are certified to perform genetic testing and do that, and then we forward it on to our lab in North Carolina, nationally accredited lab, and they generally can do the turnaround in 2 weeks, get the results back to us. The best thing is, since I've started and been in this program so long, we used to have to wait 6 months because we had to do a blood draw to determine paternity, to get the DNA sample. And we had to wait 6 months because we had to wait for all of those, all that blood to filter out that was mom's in the baby when she had the child, and so that it was uniquely the child's, DNA. So now we do what's called a buccal swab. Looks like a giant Q-tip. We do 4 samples, both sides of the cheeks, upper and lower, and get a tissue sample. So I try and explain it to people that it's like in the winter, and we all know what winter's been like this year, that your skin gets dry. You scratch your hand and those dead skin cells fall off, and it's a sloughing process. Same thing happens inside your mouth. There's tissue in there, so that tissue cell has to go somewhere. So I've had people call me and say they couldn't make their spit sample today. Well, okay, we're not taking your spit. We're actually gathering saliva as well as the tissue samples on those Q-tips and then forwarding them on to the lab. So the DNA is done. We try and do all parties involved, be that one alleged father or 2 or however many, along with mom and the child. We can do what's called a motherless draw if mom is deceased or not available, or we don't know where she is, and dad wants to, or the alleged dad wants to find out if he is the biological father of the child for custody purposes, school enrollment, those type of issues. We can do it without mom. I don't want to say it takes longer. It's a little bit different process. It's so much easier when you have mom's tissue samples because they go through and they determine her DNA. And then when you look at the child's DNA compared, one of the child's has to match the one of mom's. Consequently, much easier to do an elimination than when you have the alleged father, and the other marker of the child has to match dad. So when we get to that point, then we know where we are. Paternity comes back with either a 99.99% or 0. There's no in between. We've gotten so good at this that there's just no in between anymore.